Welcome back to the First Off, in my opinion, podcast.
You know how we do.
If everyone is guaranteed to die, why does 80% of African Americans lack life insurance?
Oh, I feel like I be talking a lot, but I'm ready.
Go
This
ahead.
is definitely my topic. This is in direct alignment with my content. It is the thought process that tomorrow is not guaranteed, true, but I'm going to live for today. I can't afford it. They don't want to allocate that money to their future. And a lot of Black people do not think about the responsibility that they have to leave their children an inheritance. At minimum, can you leave me debt-free? They are dying with $10,000, $20,000 funeral bills that we got to have a fish fry and a T-shirt sale to pay for. People don't understand that a lot of generational wealth, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, they built their generational wealth by putting life insurance policies on their elderly and waiting on them to die. They took those hundreds of thousands of dollars and started their businesses. And they created trust for the next line of life insurance to go into a trust so we could keep it going. We don't think past today. So we want to live for today because tomorrow's not promised. That's true. But what if you live to be 85? Then what? What if you have children and you leave them in debt? You leave nothing for them. Really, to be honest, the easiest way to build generational wealth is by having life insurance. But we do not plan and we don't care about the generations to come. Why? I'm dead. They can figure it out when I'm gone,
Right.
which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Nah, honestly, that's it. I sold life insurance at one point in my life, but that was the hardest market to sell to. I was led by a Black man, and he handled all of that. Like when it came, I could sell life insurance policies to a white woman, a white man, like nothing. Like that's what they wanted. That's what they would take. But selling to, they just don't want to spend the money. Like they really don't want to spend the money. It's just not worth it to them. They're not gonna be there at all.
A lot of people it's hard to have that conversation with. A lot of people don't like to face reality. A lot of people don't like hearing the truth. And just them doing that process, we have a lot of myths that we think of. Oh, if I'm going to jinx myself if I do this. I'm going to jinx myself if I'm going to do that. And that's the superstitions of the Black community of what we have all the time. A lot of us aren't taught many things as far as educated to a point to understand what we're being educated about, because we don't go into detail or we don't lower our conversation level to their level for them to actually understand why do you need life insurance policy? Why do you need to plan your funeral? Why do you need to plan things so your family won't suffer after so long of you losing a life? And I experienced that myself as far as just planning and doing a process of my mom's funeral and then not even knowing I'm going to be doing a process of my husband's funeral. But what I've learned, even just doing those things, is that it's other ways of you having a life insurance policy, of you having your own bank and you actually having that money and you accumulating interest without tax-free, and you'll be able to leave money for your family. And you're able to, if you get sick with a chronic illness or anything, if you running a business, that life insurance policy is actually going to cover your business until you get back better, or it'll take a lot of weight off your family and everything. But a lot of people aren't educated about that, so we need to explain that. A lot of us have trust issues also with communicating with people with life insurance agents, because agents have done wrong things to people when it comes to life insurance policies as well. So I feel like people need to do their history and actually take time out for themselves to actually know what's for them and what's not for them when it comes to getting something like that.
Full disclaimer, I'm an insurance broker. I'm on the phone probably 6 to 8 hours a day. And I've talked to the most wealthiest Black people. I've talked to the poorest Black people. I've signed people up for $2 whole life policies on their children that they've let lapse after a month. And then those same kids have on Jordans and gold necklaces.
Are the people that are getting life, based off of the people that you sold life insurance to, what is that age range?
I've sold it to everybody.
Have you?
I've sold it to everybody. I've been doing this for years. When I tell you, we as people of color, we're the number one consumer in the United States. Or put it like this, we're the number one director of consuming in the United States.
Right.
We tell other people what
Yes,
to buy.
100%.
But when it comes to this one thing, we drop the ball, we fumble the rock, we do whatever ignorant thing there is possible when it comes to life insurance. And when I tell you, I've seen it rip families apart for the amount of money that it costs. We spend the money on fast food. We spend the money on material things.
That
we
people can see.
So it's like, so when people say, is this the money? I'd be like, it's not the money.
Yeah.
It's the concept of sacrifice.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that perfect segue. Thank you, Tom. So I'm looking at your Gucci frames, you're killing them. And I'm sitting over here, Tiffany and Pandora down. But the difference is I can go pull all my life insurance policies and show you that my house will be paid for and my children's college will be paid for if I was to pass away. I understand that I like nice things, but I'm going to sacrifice more than I spend. So when we were just talking about this morning at breakfast. So even though I like nice things, I can't justify purchasing nice things when I don't have life insurance, when I don't have an emergency fund, when my credit is jacked up, because I understand priorities. I get to do what I want, not what I can, because I'm prioritizing. And as far as insurance goes, I think the Black community, we are more worried about looking like success than actually being successful. I can go and take all of this off right now and put on a pair of black leggings and a T-shirt, and because I know who I am and I know what my possibilities are, I'm not looking for validation based on my outside appearance. But my comfort level comes from knowing that credit score is 745.
Hello.
That income is where I need to be.
As it should be.
That those life insurance policies are in works, that IUL is looking mighty nice. I would much rather pour that money. Like, I'm not buying no J's. No shade to anybody who does. But instead of me buying the new release J's every week, that $400, $500, $600 a month, do you know what that would do when the market is at 9-10%? And you never lose on your IUL. And Tom is the expert. But on that IUL, you may not make, but you never lose.
You never
Them
lose.
Jordans, as soon as you go to stomp outside in them, you're done.
Yeah.
They
So-
depreciate as soon as you put them on.
Hello.
As-
Come on, values. Yep.
The value go down.
And when she's talking about like an IUL, that's an index universal life insurance policy. This is how the super rich stay super rich.
Yes.
Speak on it.
And when I tell you, I have set these things up over the last, it's really been jumping like the last about 18 months to 2 years. When I tell you,
Is there a reason for that?
people are becoming more knowledgeable about it. So it's like
Education.
people who are, so like, you know, you've heard of traditional IRA Roths and stuff like this. These things, there's no floor. The floor, like, you can't go under.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, you telling me I can plan for my retirement and I can't lose?
Yes.
No matter what the market does, I can't lose. So even if the market just completely trashes one year, I just go back to where I started at the
Yeah.
beginning of the
Right.
year. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm not losing.
And then if you do it right and you get with the right people, they'll put a put option against the S&P 500
Yeah.
and you're going to make money regardless.
Period.
So instead of that 4%, you're going to hit 17, 18, 20% on them things. And so now you got people who are literally making more money in retirement through life insurance than they are making working.
Yes.
But what did we talk about earlier? We talked about how Black people are not trusting. I ain't gonna let nobody control my money.
Yep.
You ain't gonna tell me what to do with my money.
Yep.
But you don't know what to do with your money. So
Exactly.
your money is sitting in a shoebox. Inflation is taking 3 to 5% of your money just by it sitting in this shoebox. Let's be real. Because we don't want to educate ourselves and grow past our comfort levels of where our minds have been, we gonna stay stuck.
Yes.
And for me, I'm really thinking about being an agent, so we need to talk about that later on. But in my opinion, I look at it like this. I'm going to share the knowledge with you. I'm going to tell you, here's what it looks like. But Ashley is a very transparent, and I'm big on accountability. If I'm going to tell you to do it, I'm going to show you where I did it. People don't trust people who aren't doing it. It's easy for you to sell me something, and then you aren't willing to verify that you're doing it too. Because I think that's a lot of times why we don't trust. Yeah, Tom's telling me to have his life insurance, but how do I know it's real? Tom, show me your life insurance. And I would have no problem saying, here's my life insurance. Here's what I got. Here's how much I pay. I have one policy that is it's enough to cover my house, let's just say that, as it should. So one of my policies is term, one of my policies as a whole. My term policy, and I've got $50,000 riders on both of my kids. I'm paying like $56 a month. My house is paid for, and my kid, if my kids pass, I got $50 a piece on them. And then if I pass, my house is paid for. And I'm able to leave my children a house that's paid for cash in my death, and they still got a whole life policy that is ready to go. Why would I not want to do that?
So it goes deeper than that, right? So it goes into what is our real purpose and what is our, I guess, ultimate goal as a people? Because sometimes for me, it's self-sabotage. And it's almost seemed like that's the goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The goal is to sabotage ourselves.
But if we're honest, like we talked about earlier, what's the root problem? When you have been told your life is worth nothing, when you have been told you'll never be anything, when you've been told tomorrow's not promised, you could die today, YOLO, live it up today, people are not realizing their own worth and their own value of their life. You have to realize that you are valuable and you could live another 40 years. What's your money gonna look like in 40 years?
People are worried about what they look like.
That's it. They're worried about.
No, for real. Like, people rather spend money looking good, showing up with drip head to toe and whatever they had, like Balenciaga, Gucci, whatever they want, than having money in the bank. That to them. And we was talking about earlier, people will not, as I've been in room with businessmen who make millions of dollars hourly, who will discredit me because I don't look the part. Because I'm not walking in with...
Now that does, me and my honey was talking about this. You do have to look the part to get in the rooms sometimes.
I could get in the room with my numbers.
Now...
You got to get the numbers in front of them.
Now look...
Which I could do without looking the part.
Now when I go... Now put it like this. Let's say I go to a house and I'm going to go do like, let's say a whole life policy.
Yeah.
And I've quoted the people, let's say it's a $2 million policy, which the premium is going to be... It's going to be considerable. I am going to pull out my Porsche.
Yeah,
I'm pulling up in the Porsche.
I'm looking
because I need them to see that I'm not no shady person. I got
but
it.
Your Porsche.
Yes, I have a Porsche. Yes.
Not rented.
No, it's not rented.
So that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between people who have it and the people who are looking the part, right? There are people who will go on Turo and rent that Porsche for a couple of hours, show up at your house and not have it, right? Versus somebody who has it, and that's my point. Like, there's a difference between somebody who because people check me, my car paid off, my house is paid off, period, right? Cash. But then there's somebody who, somebody try to compare their lifestyles a little different. People will rent out a house just to have you come, you know what I mean? Just to have you come and look.
I agree with that. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it. Because if you never get your, now to an extent of this, I drive a regular Nissan Murano. I'm not going to rent no Porsche.
Now it is nice.
It's nice. Drove it here. It drives, it stops, it goes, it keeps my kids safe. I know that a car is a depreciating asset. The Porsche is nice, I'm sure. The honey got one too. It ride nice. The ceiling a little low for me, but if that's what we riding in, that's what we're riding in. Right. However, I understand that this car is a depreciating asset. I understand that I do have to look like something. I'm not going into the meetings in a t-shirt and jeans.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what my numbers are. Now,
see, that's a culture thing. Like, white men show up in t-shirts and jeans, and black people are expected.
New money shows up in t-shirt and jeans.
No, old money shows up in t-shirt and jeans.
To a certain extent.
That money that's been running through the family for years are the people. Yes.
I've been in rooms with millionaires and billionaires.
I have too.
And
there's a certain level.
They have a t-shirt and jeans on.
Okay.
Or just a t-shirt and some work pants, or they don't.
Dickies.
It almost. I will say. I'm gonna side with Ashley on that because I've seen older. I'm gonna say over 55-year-old white people. They're gonna drive certain cars and they're gonna have certain houses. Now this, like I say, like anybody under 55, you will see like a pair of Toms. You know what I'm saying? They're not doing that.
And I driving a Subaru.
Yes.
Yeah. Like even when you look at like, let's say like Merriman Valley where we stay, you see Subarus in them driveways, but them is, $1 million homes
because
going down that road.
They understand that car is the depreciating asset.
Yeah.
If it ain't making me no money, there are some high-end cars too. At the end of the day, the life insurance portion, they may be driving that Subaru, but they got millions in them life insurance.
That's my
policy.
point.
They do.
That's my point exactly.
But there are some people that are not trusting of just some. I can't just walk in certain.
I know, but it's the difference
without.
between it being real. He's showing up in a Porsche that he owns versus people faking it, showing up a car they rented 2 hours ago.
Let's be real. How many people do we know open up LLCs and they use the LLC to go and get that G-Wagon. And then they bankrupt.
Now you can't do it anymore, but yeah.
Right. But then they bankrupt that LLC to keep the assets. That ain't real. I mean, yeah, they did buy it.
No, 100%. That's exactly what, that's.
But how is that any different? Because that's how the wealthy keep their wealth. When something getting ready to go under, I ain't taking that L. The business going to take that L. And I'm going to keep it moving. But I'm going to keep these assets because I did an 11, 13, whatever chapter it is. And I'm going to take this little sit down for 7 years, but it don't matter because I bought the house.
That money has to be answered somewhere. Like, I think that's a huge misunderstanding too with businesses.
It could be.
No, it's not necessarily, but that money does have to come from somewhere.
You're self-employed, aren't you?
Yes.
So you can claim whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I can too.
Yeah.
So come on now, let's be real.
No,
I'm not doing nothing to impress nobody. I'm not getting nothing to a point when I know I can't afford it. Just because I can't afford it, I'm not getting it. I'm going to walk in a room and be my authentic self. If I don't want to wear a Louis bag, or if I don't want to wear something name brand materialistic, if I don't want to drive that Range Rover up Porsche, I'm not doing it. If that's what it takes for me to get the attention or feel like I'm fitting in the room, I'm not doing it.
I think it's a sign in alignment with what Tom said when it comes to this insurance, which was the original question. My opinion is this. It is a certain sign of success. You look like money. You will attract money. Like Chris is in here killing it right now in this suit, and I can't deal with her. But she looks amazing. I'm with you. I am 100% authentically Ashley every day. But this is what Ashley likes. I'm not putting on because that's what the world says.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I understand that presentation is key. As a hairstylist, you're not going to no hairstylist who hair is standing all over her head. First meeting,